It is a major, major day in American history today, and we will get to it momentarily. Quick correction. Earlier this week, during my analysis of the UK elections, I said Jeremy Corbyn has resigned as the leader of the Labour Party. He said he will resign, but has not yet resigned. I apologize for that mistake. The rest of the analysis remains as I made it earlier this week. Today, the House of Representatives is expected to formally vote to impeach President Donald Trump. It may carry over until tomorrow. Republicans starting off the hearings this morning with a number of attempts to delay various obstructive attempts, including one where they opened up and said, hey, we actually just moved to adjourn. Let's just cancel it all and go home. Of course, a move that Democrats who have the majority in the House voted down right away. Depending on how long debate goes today, by the time that you listen to today's show, watch today's show, Donald Trump may already be impeached, or they may not have voted, and maybe that vote will be forthcoming tomorrow or in the following days. Yesterday, rallies exploding across the country in support of Donald Trump's impeachment. Now, I wasn't sure how much attendance these rallies would see, but it was truly stunning. Huge crowds in major cities and moderately sized cities and towns all across the United States. A very large turnout in New York City, just one of roughly 600 events. People gathering in Times Square. Many protests here in Massachusetts, including in Boston, as well as in Cambridge. Huge crowds in different parts of Michigan, Nashville, Tennessee, Washington State. I could not possibly list all of the places because it was all over the country in both blue states and red states. I heard from people in Oklahoma who said that they were at impeachment rallies. People seemingly ready for when Donald Trump will no longer be a thing in the news anymore. And of course, that will be a long time. This is just the very, very beginning. So the House of Representatives may have already voted, will be voting today, will be voting soon. 6 hours of debate scheduled on the issue. We don't know whether this is going to extend beyond today, but we are going to see only the third ever impeachment of a president of the United States. Of course, Andrew Johnson being impeached, but acquitted. Bill Clinton impeached, also acquitted. And a lot of folks incorrectly believe that Richard Nixon was impeached. Remember, Richard Nixon resigned after it became clear, because Republican senators went to him and said, listen, you've lost the support of the public. Even Republican voters don't support you. If impeachment happens, we will have to convict you. And that pushed Richard Nixon to resign. That is a very different scenario than what we have today, in great part because Richard Nixon didn't have the benefit of the 24/7 conservative media cycle, social media, micro-targeting on all of these different platforms, which have made it so that 62% of Trumpists say, I don't care what Trump does. He can't even hypothetically do anything that would get me to reconsider my support for him. So let me remind everyone that the Trumpist right is pretending that what we are seeing right now is mere partisanship. But remember the nationwide rallies calling for the impeachment of Barack Obama? I don't remember them because they didn't happen. And Obama did some bad things, for sure. Remember the nationwide rallies calling for the impeachment of George W. Bush? No, because there weren't any. Bush did terrible things, and people did rally correctly against the Iraq War. But this is not normal. Not every president generates impeachment. Again, only 3 have, Donald Trump being the third. And not every president catalyzes nationwide rallies demanding that they be impeached. Donald Trump tweeting this morning more than 20 times by the time that the impeachment debate started in the House, clearly bracing for today, including saying, quote, can you believe that I will be impeached today by the radical left do-nothing Democrats and I did nothing wrong, exclamation point, a terrible thing with a capital T. Read the transcripts with a capital T. Of course, he has not released the transcript from the Ukraine phone call, releasing only a fraction of it. This should never happen to another president again. Say a prayer, Trump calling for prayer, religious all of a sudden, now that he is getting impeached. So this is all historic. We are covering it all. Still, the most likely outcome is that Donald Trump will be acquitted by the Senate impeachment trial. But I want to take this as an opportunity because we are seeing rallies around the country to remind folks that we need to see crowds and rallies just as big and bigger nationally, fighting for the climate, fighting to take back control of our country from the corporate lobbyist revolving door industrial complex that we see, the financialization of the economy that we've talked about. I've talked before many times about how what we really need, signing petitions is not going to achieve change in this country. Calling our elected officials alone is not going to achieve change in this country beyond just removing Donald Trump. I'm talking about the structural problems that we have: healthcare, climate, inequality, all of these things. One of the things I've been talking about for a long time is we need mass rallies at urban centers. And the problem is that the system that we are trying to change, by its nature, makes it so that people can't afford to go and do these mass rallies. When people can't miss a day of work because then that means they don't have the money for rent, they're not going to go to their nearest urban center and mass rally. I've talked about other strategies, that is serious protest strategies, strategic defaults, for example, and all of these other things that we've discussed many times. Crippling industry to the degree that it makes our government have to fix some of the problems. We need to see that kind of activism around more than just impeaching Donald Trump. I hope the 600 rallies yesterday will serve as a reminder that people can get organized to that degree, but there are going to be some pains in it because the system is designed to keep people in an economically precarious state such that they can't afford to take a day off and to go and do this stuff. So that's the way the system works. I'm inspired by the rallies we saw yesterday. We will see the impeachment of Donald Trump and likely the acquittal. But let's remember that the mass rallies in urban centers should be utilized as a tool far beyond simply saying we want Trump to go. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you've not already heard about Blinkist, it's amazing. It's an app for your phone, tablet, or web browser. And what they do is they take nonfiction books, popular nonfiction, critically acclaimed nonfiction. They condense the book into a 15-minute audiobook. You get all the most important information and insights from each book, but you can soak up the entire essence of the book in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. One recent one is Robert Reich's new book, The Common Good. Also Bunk by Kevin Young, useful in preparing me for the pseudoscience miniseries that we're producing. And if you are a David Pakman Show viewer or listener, you can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, use the link in the video description. After the free trial, if you like it, you can get the full access to thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.